the World Health Organization, WHO, has reinforced its commitment to combating substandard and falsified medical products in Nigeria by donating 120 scanners to NAFDAC, which is National Agency for Food and Drug Administration in Control. Now, that also brings to the fore Nigeria's war against illicit drug use, abuse, and trafficking. But let's talk about fake drugs, fake medical products. They are very much in Nigeria. In fact, we can say that it's a real problem. You know, one of the drugs that Nigerians buy a lot would be anti-malaria, because almost everyone has become a doctor unto themselves because of the malaria infection. So somebody says, I feel feverish. The next person tells them, have you treated for malaria? The person says, no. So go and treat for malaria without even going to conduct a lab investigation to know if really they have malaria. So the person by themselves just go to the nearest pharmacy or chemist over the counter. Please give me anti-malaria, they buy. But the problem is there are complaints that people have used anti-malaria. Some even have to repeat the medication. Still, no respite for them. Some have even died taking fake anti-malaria. That's just one. So there are several fake drugs. Sometimes it's hard for you to even tell. Maybe a particular drug that you buy and you know how the packaging of it comes. You're buying from another pharmacy and you're seeing it different, and you're asking, oh, they tell you it's made by a different brand. There are several reasons why it's looking different until you consume and you discover that the efficacy of that particular drug is not as it should be.
Okay, one thing or one practice that most Nigerians are not, will I say most Nigerians? Let me say some Nigerians are not they've not adopted, is the practice of, you know, whether you're buying a consumable, you're buying a medication, and before you take it, you look at the pack to look at the expiry dates or to even look at what it's made of. Then the dosage, how you should take it. Because we felt we've known it and we've been taking it before, we just go ahead and, oh, we've been to the hospital, or maybe you went, that very time you went to the hospital, you went through the right procedure where you went through a test, a scan, and they told you what you were going through, and you went to buy the medication, you took it. So the next time that you feel those symptoms,
you are now the consultant.
You are now the consultant and the doctor. You jump in there. I was speaking to someone who was in America or Canada. I'm feeling feverish. No, just like a normal thing. I said, go and get this medication. I said, no, it doesn't operate like that here. You go there, they tell you, okay, we're going to first of all, do a test. I said, tell them that you're feeling discomfort and you don't have the time to wait for the test. He says, sorry, it doesn't work that way here. And they are going to give you time. Okay. They carry out the test, like, okay, for this time being, this is when you're going to come back. However, for the time being, we are prescribing this for you to take. And things are just in order here. Inside public buses, people sell medication.
Along the road.
Along the road, uncertified people.
It's almost like they're buying groceries.
Exactly. In fact, they even hawk it.
Yes, they do. I've seen
and those are medications. You buy it. So there was this experience I had where I looked at the packaging of a product and I look at the date that's expired. So there's a customer line there, so I called. And I said, I'm going to report you to the to NAFDAC. I said, I'm going to report you to NAFDAC. And this number, you don't even have NAFDAC plate. Okay, I think now I remember very well. There's no NAFDAC number on the packaging. So I called, I'm like, your product doesn't even have NAFDAC. I'm going to report you. And it was a lady that picked the call. And she started to say, I am not selling counterfeit, I am selling this. I am just earning a living. I am just doing this. You want to spoil my life. you want to do this. I said, we are coming for you. Now, I just said that. Of course, I'm not a NAFDAC official. I just said that. But to get, just as a journalist, to get the feedback, I know exactly where we're heading with this. There are lots of products out there that Nigerians are consuming. And just like what some other people will say in the local parlance, now only God, they keep us. And until we begin to take the drastic action, where we see, well, of course, we've been seeing NAFDAC do that too, but we need to see them do more, most especially those who manufacture some of these new energy drinks we consume. There was a time NAFDAC was completely out against those people who, manufacture and brand those alcohols, small alcohols in those little plastic bottles. The government was out against them and it went up. But you know what? We still have them, even the ones in sachets. And they come in funny names. Very funny names. And
it seems the funnier the name, the more curious
the people
become about them and they want to have a taste of it.
This is a serious business. When you're leaving the house 4 a.m., 4:30 a.m. in the morning, they've already started business and work. You could see them. And guess where? They normally shed
motor parks.
Motor parks. So it's a lot. It's a lot, and I think NAFDAC has a lot to do concerning this.
Doc, drug abuse, people going over the counter to just request for certain medication, and they buy it as much as they want. They begin to abuse it from that.
I'm not even too concerned about self-medication as the real deal, which is the presence of fake drugs in our market. Thanks to WHO, they have given us scanners that could help NAFDAC do their work. But the unfortunate thing is that these products are not even available to be scanned.
How are they able to evade NAFDAC's scrutiny?
You see, that's why, God bless her soul, Dora Akurele, who took the world to their den in Akpongbo market here, in Onitsha market, where people are right there inside their shop and they are producing all manners of things. They're not presenting it for NAFDAC scanning. They don't care if NAFDAC exists. They print their things inside there, mix their concoction there, and they push it into the market. I don't know how scanner is going to detect those things. You see, because you have scanner, of course, that somebody is bringing something to you, is asking you to check whether this is fake or it can solve the problem that is meant to solve. But the situation we have in our hand is where we have desperate Nigerians who are in their room duplicating or replicating branded products, and they are selling it alongside the unbranded. And some of them have even recruited agents who help push this thing, because if you are not clever enough, you will not be able to even see what is there. It says some few cases now where people are now having barcode that you can check the batch number and check the manufacturing, whether it's actually coming straight from. Now, even they are even faking barcode to put on these products. So you are buying it and you are seeing a barcode, and you are in a hurry and you are not able to scan to know whether the barcode is genuine or is fake.
Sometimes you can't even scan it.
So these are the challenges that we face. And I don't think this is something that scanner that is in NAFDAC office will be able to address, because the issue of fakeness of drug in Nigeria is as real as yesterday. Drugs are fake, water is fake, drinks are fake, almost everything. Because people just sit down, and this greed or this chase for money at all costs is what I pray every day, that God should help our heart to be softened. Because you really understand that Dora came into that warfare because of what fake drug has done to her little sister that was diabetic, who bought a fake insulin and then led to her death. And so she came like a fighter and wanted to actually end that warfare. And between 2001 and 2008, she did excellently well. That she has left a footprint in that particular agency, and I'm not seeing any other person who was as desperate, because no other person would have had her kind of experience of losing a beloved to an illicit trade. And so she was desperate to see that war end. And I think we need another Dora Akunyili in that space.
Do we necessarily need to have someone who has had an ordeal to be able to do their job very well? I think it's a question of what is the job, who is doing the job, and what is the system set to help the person do the job. Yes, I understand that there can be motivations for a person to either do a job or not do the job. Motivation is there. But even the system as it is, how did we come to the extent where it is okay for drugs, medications to be sold in the marketplace where you have other wares being sold? I don't think they are the same type of products and they should be in the same place. I have seen in Onitsha main market where traders go to buy clothes, wares, and other things, and then they pack them, they are taking them to other parts of the country. The same way, in the same manner, people who run pharmacies and chemists have come to purchase drugs from an open market, and they are stored like there are other kinds of wares, and they're taking them to be sold. Now, from where it is being sold, is that not enough room given for it to be mixed on wholesome products? If you have manufacturers of this product, they have outlets. They should have designated outlets that are certified, that if anybody is going there to buy, you know, you are getting the product directly from the outlet of the manufacturer, not from an open market where they have mixed different things. Now, if they are not manufactured in the country, then we should have certified dealers who are known, so that whatever barcode is there, there is a number given to every certified dealer attached to it, because even the barcode can just be printed by someone who has made it by themselves at home, and so the person is the same that is authenticating the quality of the drug. So how then do you know what you're buying? It's just as if we're living on faith, like you said, on God. Well, it's God that is just helping us, it's God that is just protecting us. But we see that this has led to the death of several persons. So I don't think that if anyone is appointed to occupy that position, you need to have gone through such an experience for you to be moved enough, motivated enough to ensure that you are out there looking for those who are doing these things.
Yeah, but you see the point I'm making, Blessing. If you don't wear a shoe, you don't know how it pinches. You could come from America and think that what you're having here is sin. We're in an environment where people who have never been to medical college are practicing medicine.
They learned it just the way you learn tailoring.
And they have clinic where people come to. Because by the time they put out a Red Cross sign on the place and the snake emblem, the unsuspecting man on the street feels that it's a hospital.
Yes.
You can't go to a hospital now and say, the medical doctor, bring your certificate. I want to see the medical college where you graduated from. All you want to see is that somebody is sitting on a chair with a stethoscope on his neck. And then you have people who wear white clothes in the name of nurses, and they are sitting around. And then you submit yourself. That happens here. You are seeing an environment where people appear before judges who have never been to law school. They have not even studied law in the university, and they appear as lawyers. And you think it's pharmacy that cannot be faked. So the point is that these people are criminally intentioned. Criminally intentioned. And they are not operating in the open. It's a clandestine kind of activity. And that's why you find that what they were doing, they were busting places. where this thing is happening, real time. In this country, you see Guinness, people are mixing it inside drum and packing it in bottles and infiltrating the market with it. They do Coca-Cola. They do with all manners of brands. I'm talking about regular brands, real brands. And that's why you see...
They do it so well that on the surface levels had to distinguish which is the original and which is the fake.
Until you buy it, that you will know. So this is the environment where we find ourselves. When criminals are operating, and I see these people as criminal, and I think they should be treated as criminal, the state needs to get into what people are doing. And then we see how we can put our eye in the market. She did a lot of raid between 2001 and 2008. They were deliberate raids. They get information to see where is this happening, and then we can track it. But you also understand that the drug market, the way it is in Nigeria today, so many people who have pharmaceutical companies actually shipping drugs also from India, from China, and from all manners of the world, and they employ marketers who go around selling these drugs.
Okay, that's where I actually wanted to go, because the thing is, two things. Those who import pharmaceutical drugs into the country to be sold, most times or sometimes too, they are importing medication that probably from that other clime has been written off, that should not be sold. Yesterday, someone sent me a voice note about a specific drug that the task officers are already in the market somewhere in Idumota, and they are all the so-called chemists and those people selling the drugs, they are hauling them into vehicles and they were taking them out. And that specific drug, I have the voice note here. They were shipped into the country. Where did they pass through? Our ports. Were they verified? Do they have the license from NAFDAC to ship this medication, these drugs into Nigeria?
What if they have NAFDAC license?
If they do not have it, does NAFDAC and the Nigerian Customs Service work together to prevent this sort of act? Mm-hmm. Those are questions we should be asking. The other thing is, the law enforcement agencies too, in one way or the other, have played a complicit role in this, where some people locally manufacture things and they write to these organizations to come certify, and without putting them through the main procedure as spelled out by the certifying organizations, they've gotten approval. Now, in other cases, I have spoken to people as well who have made productions and they wanted to bring into the market, but they know that the law requires them to speak with the certifying agencies. And when they approach the certifying agencies, these same certifying agencies, the agents that were sent there don't want to do anything but just request for bribe. Just pay me and get the signature and get the so-called number and we leave. They are not even concerned about the health consequence if this does not go through the laboratory test and the laboratory procedure. So once it's on two sides, who is going to man, who looks after those organizations, who police them? Well, to make sure that they themselves are living up to their responsibility.
Yeah, but that is why I'm actually speaking that, look, it is the conscience of Nigerians we can actually be appealing to this morning.
But some people don't have conscience anymore.
Yeah, they don't have at all. You see, because I go to NAFDAC and say, NAFDAC, I want to be producing a certain brand of a product, and they give me certification, and they take me through the process. Now, they are not going to come back again to give me another certification next week. But I have done what I feel it is the right thing, and then using the same structure to do things that are harmful.
What about monitoring?
That's where there should be periodic monitoring, and sometimes it should be random. That they're not expecting you to come. You just show up.
Yeah, but the challenge is the fact that you're also having an agency that has to cope with pressure, and they don't have the necessary manpower to even finish, because on a daily basis...
What happens to employ more hands?
Now, of course, again, you talk about budget. So these are the things that the environment is constrained with. See, it's difficult, really. I say to people, except that you want to recruit 220 policemen to man the 200 million policemen to man the 200 Nigerians that are population.
So who will be policemen? Who will be citizens?
Now, this is the question. So you have to bring the police from other clan. That is what it is, because you are seeing where the number of hands, just imagine what is happening in this market. You can't finish it in one day.
I don't think that is the issue, because if that is the issue, that we do not have exactly more hands and it's impossible
No.
We
It's
have
a
had
big
that
issue.
success in other countries.
It's
You're buying
a
products
big
from other
issue.
countries. You trust it that it's wholesome.
You see,
Unlike
let
here.
me tell you something. When they say, when you see something, you say something.
Yes.
It's very, very awesome in other countries. People see something happening and they are in their house and they call police and tell you, I suspect something is happening. The police pay attention to that place. The next time you see a policeman driving, go and check what is happening.
Yes.
Because laborers are cooperating. We don't have that here.
We do have that.
No.
We do have that. What happens sometimes is that even those you make the call to frustrate those who are given information. I'll give you a case.
No, I can tell you we don't have that here. You see in your neighborhood where you live today.
Yes.
You see people suspiciously. You can't take the burden upon yourself to say, okay, what is here? Yes, I agree with you that in some cases where you bring an issue before the police, and then of course even the police go to expose you to the people who are trying to deal with. So
those things are not encouraged.
Yes, this is what I'm saying, and that's why we have to look for plenty hands. And I'm saying really that almost everybody has to be policed in this matter. That what we should be doing, and the only way to help NAFDAC is to us as individuals and our consciences allow it to work. People are benefiting from this. They have agents that are selling. People should not profit at the expense of other people's life. That level of morality in society is what can help us, honestly speaking, because there are a whole lot of blind spaces and spots around us.
We can reduce them.
So how to reduce this blind spot is the thing that is before us. So when you're saying NAFDAC monitor, even the one that applied to say they want to even register, their application has been pending for the last 1 year. NAFDAC has not been able to visit. These people, how are they going to do monitoring on a weekly basis, especially with people with criminal intentions?
It goes back to priority, I would say.
No. You can't. You only prioritize when there's no danger and there's no emergency.
That's what I'm saying.
So what I'm saying is that
it falls back to priority.
What are you prioritizing this?
Yes.
area?
What I'm saying is this: there are certain key agencies that government has to prioritize in terms of budgeting for them so that they can have more hands. The police is one. NAFDAC is another, as well as several other agencies. Because this is health we're talking about. If you consume any substance that is unwholesome, it endangers the life of the person. If the person doesn't die now, it doesn't mean that what they've consumed or continue to consume is not damaging certain organs in their body that will result in a serious case later on. We find that the number of persons who are coming up with kidney problems, liver problems are increasing. For some of them, it's not because they abuse alcohol. Some will say, oh, it's because of the abuse of alcohol or other substances. It is from the food that they are eating. It is from the medications they are taking. It is from the beverages that they are taking that are not wholesome. So, where you have people on the streets who are selling medication as if they are selling chin-chin and the rest, we should not see that happen. Yes, it's medication, it's drug. It should be sold by a medical practitioner. Where we have people going to the market space to buy drugs as if they're buying clothes and the others, we should not see that happen. Government, during the time of COVID-19, had this incentive they were giving to pharmaceutical companies so they can develop vaccines and the others. Now, are we seeing that incentive continue? to strengthen
You
local pharmaceutical companies
see,
to manufacture these drugs,
you see,
so that we have less of importation from where we do not know.
You see, it's easy, and I keep saying this here.
It will be easy if we want it to be easy.
It looks easy when we sit down and we are not involved in the process. I give you one person.
We can make that process easy. It happens elsewhere. It can be successful here.
You can go to Yaba bus stop tomorrow and see what they call these people, the Kai people, who are trying to scare people away from selling in the main road. And once this guy's motor is on the close by, what do you see? Everybody disappear.
But they catch some.
The place, yes, they catch some. The place look as if it is clear. Just allow the motor to move 1-2 kilometers away. They will come back.
You know why they come back? You know why they come back? Because those who were arrested, after 2 days, they see them back.
No,
it emboldens them. It emboldens them. If those who have been caught, I'm listening to you. If those who have been caught,
even if you send them to jail,
sanctions have been taken, you will find that it is reduced.
Even if you send them to jail, people will still come out.
But not many people. You are reducing it.
Even if you kill with gun, they will still come out.
They will reduce because people still value their lives.
It's not reduction. That is why globally it has been argued that even capital punishment does not deter crime.
It does deter.
It does not.
It does, but it does not curb it totally.
No, it does not. You see, the real reason is that a lot of people even wait for the bullet to happen once, and that is why globally there's a campaign that it's much more than capital punishment. You think that what deterrence is not that because somebody in short, as a matter of fact, by the reverse psychology, is that when you see somebody die on a particular issue, people want to tend to participate in that. It's just like you're talking about kidnapping in Nigeria today. A lot of young people are interested in getting into that business.
Because they've not seen a lot of kidnappers pay for it.
They have seen people roasted by what they call jungle justice. They see people put tire on them. They don't even go to police and they are murdered.
In those areas where jungle justice happens, do you see a high prevalence of the crime? Not to say that jungle justice is encouraged.
That is what I'm telling you, that even in the face of jungle justice, you see people still putting their head in there. And that is to tell you that you have a nature of people that you are dealing with. When you are dealing with criminal issues, we're not talking about something is trivial. This is criminality.
Yes, it is.
And the criminals is not deterred, but all that is important to him is that they think about it, that I'm going to make this one move, and they still make it. Why do you think a lot of people are still getting involved in drug trafficking today in Nigeria? Even with the strictest sanction, not even from Nigeria, even from abroad.
Capital punishment.
So if capital punishment
even with the capital punishment in all the Asian tigers, we are still going there. So what I'm saying to you is that it's just easy for you to say, if we have government do this, this will happen. The truth of the matter is that until a man conscience comes alive, you can't take away crime.
So how do you change their conscience? Because these people belong to different religions. They go to churches, they go to mosques, they go before traditional places. How do you change their conscience?
Now, this is where, for us as individuals, we are the conscience of the people, that we tell people, as even media, to say, yes, money is good, and there are better ways to make money without necessarily making money at the expense of other people's lives. We have parents to raise up their children with morals, and then we begin to have values for life. I grew up in a community that when we hear a certain church bell ring in a certain way, no matter how deep you are in the forest, you run back home, because that bell signal that somebody had died, and you go and hide. Today you are seeing young people taking photographs of dead body, and they really don't see what's the difference, because conscience isn't there. Because the thing that we had once treasured, that people don't want to see this thing, is no longer making sense to the generation that you are dealing with. That for them, people somebody say, my girlfriend lose me and go and drink sniper. Is that person that you are going to deter?
I want to ask you a question. So this your preaching about people having conscience. If the word was to go with allowing people to use their conscience to decide what is good from what is bad, or what is right from what is wrong, do you think we would have systems that work? Like in other parts of the world, are you thinking that, or are you believing that it is because the citizens there have good consciences or better consciences than those in Nigeria? That is why we do not have the proliferation of certain crimes that we have happening in Nigeria as much as have happening there as much as we have in Nigeria. For instance, now we're talking about unwholesome products. You have unwholesome products in other places, like in the US, in the UK, and other parts of the country, but you don't have it as much as you have it in Nigeria. Is it because those people there are good people? They have been raised well.
Okay.
They have they have good consciences, or because there's a system in place. Let me finish my question. Or they have a system in place that ensures whether or not you were raised well, whether or not you have good conscience. If you step out of line, there is a system that whips you back into line.
It's beyond system. It's beyond system. And that's why you are having some people who volunteer themselves. And that's why they call them, that's the real philosophy around civil society groups, who take advocacy to the people. And until we have advocacy groups, civil society organizations, who are not just interested about grants and aid, and they are really very interested in seeing that society work well, some of all these things will continue to happen.
Let's get real.
Okay. So
those civil society organizations, would they preach better than pastors, than clerics? You know, the Muslim clerics, and all, would they preach better?
Okay, so I don't even want to, if I'm to even look at it from that perspective, there are people who have all the monies in the world and they still steal. Now, that act came from a disease called, is it
they're kleptomaniacs.
Kleptomaniac. They have everything, but they still steal. So it's a disease. It's a disease that cannot be treated with physical medication, but you can adopt psychiatric means, psychological means to attend to that. Now, in other crimes, there are many reasons why crime is deterred to a specific level. And in countries like Nigeria and some other places, there's a reason why crimes cannot be really deterred in a certain way. In those crimes, we can look at the social system. There are different aspects to it. If you are caught perpetrating a certain crime, there's a number of years you will spend in prison. And irrespective of who you are, irrespective of whose also is God, the law will take effect. That is one. And we know. On the other hand, even if you are able to jump the gun, there is an effective system, policing system in place, of course, that will search for you. And if it's going to take, no matter how long it is, it's going to search for you. And you're going to pay for your crimes one way or the other. In Nigeria, when a system is porous, not just Nigeria, in Africa, when a system is not efficient, when those who are meant to even carry out the dictates of the system are found complicit to bypass the system, it beats down the whole strength of that system to be able to carry out the function that it has been saddled with. On the other hand, we must also agree with Doc that the capital system in place cannot deter people. See, and it is not preaching. It is just a normal thing. Tanker drivers, the tanker, times with that number, had fallen down on different parts of the country. People have gone there to scoop fuel. They died in their numbers. The government, civil society organizations will keep coming out to tell you, the first thing to do when you see a tanker falls down and its contents are spilling off, run away. Yes, but you know what? They don't run away. That gain that they are going to get if I scoop this fuel, this diesel, and if I can trade it and sell it and I can get my 1 month salary for just a day, that thought alone can motivate you to endanger your life for it. And most times they don't come out. So it is, we can preach and talk. Civil society organizations can go out and carry out awareness programs, and it will still not work. In secondary schools, we were taken down to, was it NAFDAC? I don't know if they were the ones existing then, to go and see drugs, cocaine, you just name it, cannabis and all of that. You know what? Students still absconded from class, get weed, and smoke their weed.
You see, but
the dangers of it, we were told.
yeah, you know. Yeah.
Sometimes they just want to try, like, they're adventurous. Let me tell you something. Human beings are adventurous. And they feel like, okay,
but this is why they are more effective than pastors and imam, the civil society groups, elsewhere. If I report a case as a journalist, that there's a crime perpetrated here, until that justice is done, my camera don't live there. We follow the case till the end to see the end. We will be in confrontation with government agencies to ensure that justice is done. Now, that's the work of civil society groups. They are not supposed to just say things and then look for another things to say. They must ensure that justice is being served or seen to be served. Now, that's missing in our environment. That's why I'm saying that when you see those crimes, they say to you, oh, somebody was captured for doing an illegal crime. This person is in the police net, and they are going to follow that case until that person goes to jail. That ensure that money are not changing hands and judges are not corrupting it, and they put it in the court of public opinion on a daily basis and put the heat on it. And that's what front runners should be doing, really. Put heat on issues until we see the end.
Okay.
So that at the end of the day, people understand really that somebody is watching. That even if they are afraid to see God watch, they know that camera is watching.
Now
and that's one side of it. And I think that's one side of things that we can do as a people to bring heat on the things and make it look lively. Another dimension to it is the fact that these guys are also collating data. They are not just speaking about drug. They are telling you the number of people that died because of this. And now, when you throw this data and figure in the face of people, and with names, just like we said just now, Dora Akunyili's younger sister that was killed by fake drug, and they know that this was an insulin, and then of course we are hammering it. This is what killed this lady. Other people are endangered. At least for somebody to see that, it could be my mother. This thing can happen to my cousin. My sister can be a victim. And this, of course, appealing to the conscience of individual. We do more than using state hammer to prevent people from getting into a trade. So that thing, consciousness will come gradually, and the conscience would have been sanctified. And people are thinking and say, well, oh, if this killed my sister, I won't allow it to happen to another person.
Okay, I'll say that when they talk about blood money, for those who were Nigerians or had the privilege of watching some Nollywood movies when Nollywood was just starting, we saw a lot of movies like that where you see someone is said to have done blood money or ritual money where they killed someone, and then maybe spiritually the person happened to generate money for them. So you do not have to necessarily take a person to the shrine and kill the person, and then spiritually or through some other means the person begins to bring money for you. That is not the only time you become a ritualist. You are a ritualist. You are having blood money. When your means of livelihood results in the death.
I think we need to
people.
do that movie, Blessing.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
You are having blood on your hands when what you trade in kills people. So if you're someone who is in the business of making, producing, selling unwholesome products with the knowledge that this products can harm, but you lie to yourself that no, it won't harm now, it's just something. Disease don't kill African man.
Because of money.
Disease has killed African people.
Many.
Unwholesome products has killed a lot of Nigerians, has killed a lot of Africans. If that is your trade, the verdict here on this table is that you are a ritualist. You have blood money and you have blood on your hands. That's on the side of conscience. Then we are asking that the government strengthen the institutions, particularly NAFDAC in this case, to be able to better police the country, the length and breadth of this country, so we do not have unwholesome products being produced in our markets. To the street hawkers, you know where you get your products from. Some of you are in the know that these are fake products, yet you sell them to your fellow Nigerians, forgetting that there are people like you everywhere who are selling to your cousins, who are selling to your brothers, who are selling to your kids. So at the end of the day, it's a cycle. You may escape it, but your relatives may not be fortunate enough to escape it. And you know what they say about karma? I won't tell you what it is. You know that karma doesn't look at the face. When it comes, it comes. But we can do better. There are good ways to make money. If you want to be a manufacturer of food, drugs, do it the right way. Government can strengthen the local pharmaceutical manufacturing industry so that we can even begin to track where these drugs come from and not see on the packages made in India, made in this, but we can't trace. We can't trace where exactly they come from. That's a submission here on the table collectively. That's conscience, appeal, and everything. Capital punishment where necessary. Because if we've seen those who are involved being penalized severely, for some, they will say, I don't want to go that route. I value my life. I should take another route to make money. Let's do all that is necessary. All hands must be on deck to fight this. But thank you so much for being a part of the show all through the week. You can continue the conversation as you hashtag frontburners and share your thoughts. Be sure to like our posts and our other programs from Suit News TV. Monday will be another time when the frontburners light up. I am Blessing AG, and I've been doing this all morning, okay, not all morning, but most part of the morning from 7 a.m. until this time with Dr. Dausa Osamanze and Priye Krumale. Thank you, gentlemen, for being on the show with me.
I was privileged to have you by my side today. As a guest, what Priye did this yesterday, and I just had to appropriate it, and I said that appropriation wasn't too good enough. But I think we resume back here on Monday. Don't just watch the news, understand it, ensure that you challenge it, and above all, join the conversation and let the heat be brought to issues that matters to all of us.
And Priye?
Yeah, and for me, I'm always glad when it's Friday because I need to just go home, rest and sleep and not wake up by 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. and just make sure I wake up after having enough rest. So you have yourself a splendid weekend.